SCNR, Cassandra McDonald reporting, New York Times runs seemingly pre-written op-ed calling for Biden to drop out of the presidential race. The URL indicates the article was at least partially pre-written and loaded up on June 25th. Check this out. So this is Nick Kristof calling for Biden to withdraw from the race. And it's here you can see it. The URL is NewYorkTimes.com/Joe-Biden-drop-out.html. Now, I want to tell you guys, this means they titled this. They titled the article Joe Biden Dropout on the 25th. When you create a draft, and I'm assuming, to be fair, but in our system, and correct me if I'm wrong, Anna Claire, if you create a draft with a title, it generates that URL as the draft URL, doesn't it?
It does. The only defense that I have for this is there are times with our system, and I can't speak to New York Times, where like I will start an article, but I won't have time to finish it. Then the next day I'll go in and use the same draft post to like change the article. It's a completely different thing. So it's generated.
But the URL won't change.
I don't think it will.
It will not. And so this is what matters. They began to write this in whatever form 2 days before the debate happened. And then in the article, Nick Kristof cites the debate, saying after the debate, it's hard to avoid the feeling that Biden remaining in the race increases the likelihood that Trump will move into the White House in January. I don't think he waited until after the debate was over, went in and edited it. It is possible, it is probable, but I think likely what happened is he wrote this up. They knew the debate was going to be bad, and they said, just wait and see, right? And then after the debate, they said publish. They knew they wanted Biden to drop out.
So they knew they weren't giving him his PEDs then.
His what?
His PEDs, his PEDs. Performance-enhancing drugs. They must have known that because it's worked before.
Did you see that meme where the person's like trying to give Adderall to Joe Biden through the TV and they're pushing it into the screen?
When you're this close to hospice, they don't work anymore.
Yeah, but why are we acting surprised? We know that he pooped his pants on the beaches of Normandy recently.
We don't know that.
I know, but we speculate that maybe he didn't poop his pants, but it looked like he did.
But here's how you frame it. There is more evidence that Joe Biden crapped his pants on stage than there is the Hunter Biden laptop is a Russian disinformation scheme.
That's a good way to put it. That'd be hard to debate. So this isn't a surprise. People know that he's not capable of being the president for another 4 years. So, I mean, it makes sense now the New York Times is turning on him. They probably should have turned on him a little bit sooner. This is probably their fatal errors that they're doing it now when it could be potentially too late. So
I think they had to have edited after the fact because he wrote, my phone has been blowing up with texts from people saying, dear God, what are we going to do? It's imperative we change horses. But Democrats have been reluctant to say this out loud. Guys, Biden has announced he will debate Trump again. It's, hold on. Just hear me out.
Great. Let's do it.
The greatest activist against the Democrats right now is Joe Biden.
I almost died from the last drinking game. I don't think I can survive another one.
Did you see those?
Which one? The coins, the flips, yes.
Yeah, the president for prison. I'm just so excited I'm showing everybody.
It's funny because Joe Biden is the DNC's biggest enemy. And we have people saying like, oh, they'll make him drop out. But I have said consistently since he took office that he is not giving up the White House. Like Jill Biden is going to see every single one of their grandchildren married in the White House if she has anything to do about it. There are almost two separate entities at war here. And especially the structure that is supporting Biden, they don't want to leave. They don't want to give up their chance at another 4 years of telling people what to do and propagating terrible misinformation.
I do think that there's a coordinated attempt to get Biden to not run anymore, because I don't think it's a coincidence that almost every single mainstream headline today was Trump needs to leave or Biden needs to leave. Like there's no way he can be on the ticket. And it just seemed like it was too planned, in my opinion. And the fact that in the spin room last night, Gavin Newsom was doing a lot more press in the last 48 hours than he has done, I will say, like all year. And I do feel like they're setting Biden up to leave office. I've been calling it the great presidential campaign replacement theory, because there's just no way for me that they can put Biden on the ticket and actually think that they have a shot at winning.
So who would they put on the ticket? Who are you thinking?
I honestly think it would be either Gavin Newsom, Michelle Obama, maybe Kamala Harris, but I don't think Kamala Harris has enough pull and people don't like her enough.
There are a couple op-eds out today about how Kamala Harris is the one and Joe Biden.
What about Hillary?
Side.
Have you heard anything about Hillary Clinton?
There's a theory about her because she just released her book.
That's what I'm thinking too. Like,
I mean, I think she wants to stay relevant.
And she lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah, so that's like, what is she losing that weight for?
Yeah, as people are saying, Ozempic.
So I don't know. If they do replace, I think like Gavin Newsom has it just money in the bank to be the candidate in 2028. So I don't know if he risks running and losing that might hurt him, or maybe he looks at it as like a free roll to, do an election as like a test election. But I have no doubt in 2028 that he will be the Democratic candidate.
Yeah, he'll run in 2028 for sure.
But why is the left so willing to lose? Like the debate was so bad.
They can get dead people to vote for him, so they're not.
They got 9.6 million illegal immigrants.
I return to my thesis for the night, which is Democrats believe their own propaganda, right? They believe that Trump is the be all, like the omen of the end times for the United States, that people will not vote for him. They believe that Joe Biden is, at least they would at least take him even if he is not functional. I mean, I've seen comments on social media today where they were like, it doesn't matter if he's in a coma. We're voting for the administration. We're voting for the Supreme Court nominations. That means that they are voting for the structure around Joe Biden. They don't actually care about the figurehead, which means that they don't really care if they replace him or not, because they believe that there's enough influence in the staff to get the results that they think, or at least progressive voters want.
My concern is this: if Joe Biden does step down, does that mean Obama has to as well? Because it's obvious he's running the show, right?
Well, no. The rules of running backroom presidencies is that Biden steps down, Kamala steps in, and Obama stays exactly where he is running the show.
Perfect. So it's got to find someone who will take orders from Obama. That's what they're looking for. I would go with Michelle.
Well, the election's in November, but when does he leave? In January? Like when would?
January's the inauguration.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't
January
be surprised.
20th is his
21st, right?
the 20th is inauguration, so then his last day would be that day. Like Trump gets sworn in, he's the
The
president.
conspiracy theorist in me believes that like they will run Gavin Newsom, but they'll make Joe Biden step down in the interim so that they can put the multicultural woman as president. And I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, so I was saying that so everyone's wondering how you get through Kamala Harris, right? If Joe Biden steps down, Kamala's next in line. But if Joe Biden suffers a health issue, Kamala Harris assumes the role of acting president, and then it's clean. She says, there is no way as acting president in a time of emergency, I can run a campaign. I am happy to do my duty to this nation, and I am happy to see Gavin Newsom campaign for the next term.
Would she be the vice president for Gavin?
She would be, no.
So he's going to have another totally different.
Yes, Whitmer. But that's the only way you do it, because then she saves face by saying, as the acting president, it would be irresponsible to try and launch a presidential campaign, while trying to save this country in an emergency. So she gets a clean exit. And then she cuts a backroom deal with Newsom or whatever. And
I was going to say, I think part of it is that she is hoping to transition into another position of power. I have to imagine someone in Kamala Harris's camp has brought up to her, you're deeply unpopular and people wouldn't vote for you. But theoretically, like, what if she got appointed to the Supreme Court? What if she got appointed, somewhere else where she can have influence?
They would hire her somewhere in some White House job, if
maybe, or like an academic position. But I think ultimately, I am wondering if it's how can the DNC is like, how can we position it so she is the next Supreme Court nominee? Because there's theoretically going to be, I think, at least 2 appointments. We think in the next 4 years.
So maybe not a lateral move, but definitely will compensate you for your time.
Mm-hmm.
People think she'll get offered the Supreme Court or something.
Yeah,
and she'll have a job for life. I mean, she probably wants that because
and she doesn't have to get voted in, right?
Yeah.
She has to pass this. She has to be confirmed by the Senate, but she's not subject to the people's opinion, and that's been really one of the biggest issues that nobody likes her.
I hope if she becomes president, she's like Willie Brown, and she can, stop the crisis in the Ukraine by maybe having sex with Vladimir Putin.
Wouldn't that be fascinating? If that
Joe Biden can't have sex with Vladimir Putin, I don't think.
No.
But Kamala could.
You need someone, because they're old and like it's a medical concern. You know what I mean?
I don't think Putin would go for.
But
you don't think so?
You feel like you're not setting your best.
But in all seriousness, Kamala Harris, assuming the presidency, is the fastest path towards nuclear war.
True.
I mean, honestly, like whoever it is, if it's Gavin Newsom, if it's Whitmer, if it's Biden, or otherwise, like voting Democrat is voting for escalation of international conflict.
Absolutely.
Do you think they can drop a nuclear weapon, though? I mean, you really think they can do that?
I think they would. They're too money hungry and power hungry. If they remain in control of the White House and they are just continuously making foreign money by starting and continuing wars.
Well, no, I don't think the U.S. drops nukes. I think Russia uses tactical nukes on the battlefield. Mm-hmm. So already we are in. According to Russia, nuclear war has begun, I think, a year ago when the UK sent depleted uranium bunker busters or whatever, these massive artillery shells that were radioactive, and they said this is nuclear warfare, because a lot of nuclear weapons are intentionally radioactive, because they have nuclear weapons that can reduce the radioactive yield intentionally. Mm-hmm. Some are designed to make massive fireballs. Some are designed to maximize the shock wave, which shatters glass, and some are designed to maximize EMP. So Russia's already stated the UK sending these weapons is nuclear war. But I'm saying if Trump gets in, de-escalation in seconds. If Biden remains in, it's going to be ever-inching escalation. I mean, we just had those Ukrainian strikes using U.S. weapons on Russian citizens in Crimea. So we this is the precipice. Russia says, "Oh, we'll get you at some point," and I'm like, "Wow, that's not a very strong statement." But if Russia is ever fearing that they're going to lose, and maybe the reason they're not retaliating is because they're winning, there's no reason to draw in other countries into a massive escalation of the conflict when they've secured the areas they want. But if Russia ever needed to, they're going to launch low-yield tactical nukes, maybe 10 kiloton bombs, 100 kiloton bombs.
And they have boats in Cuba right now that could send missiles and hit us right now.
Yeah, and
Russia
some
does.
people fear there's going to be another Cuban Missile Crisis.
Well, I think we're kind of in it, right? I mean, if they have boats there with nuclear arsenals in those boats, I mean, aren't we?
Well,
in
there's
that?
no nukes in the boats.
There's not.
No,
Okay. I
it's a
thought the
nuke- it's a-
submarines had, but there's submarines there too.
The submarines are
nuclear-
nuclear powered.
So no nuclear weapons.
No weapons.
Honestly, Miami might look better afterwards anyway.
That's unfortunate. The Everglades are beautiful. But the big issue, I think what Russia's move was was to scare the American people. Putin's probably thinking, the American people don't know what their government's doing and they don't care. Let's make them realize what war means. They send a strike group 10 miles off the coast, and then you see Air Force, Navy, military, whatever, flying out to monitor this. And then all of a sudden the American people are like, whoa, 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 you mean they can come here? And now they're in Cuba? They want the American people to react negatively, and they want them to vote for Donald Trump so Donald Trump can de-escalate the war, because de-escalation is better for everybody.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you all there.